Hello, everybody, and welcome to Pardon Your French podcast with myself, Stephanie Lauren.
And Vanessa Sherlock. We're here today with Giselle Pears, my emergency contact. We're just gonna, start asking questions and get to know Giselle a little bit and learn about your story, moving to France, living in France, and what's in the future for you.
Okay,
Yeah?
fire away.
Okay, so how did you end up in France?
Right, so for people who don't know, my ex-husband is Vanessa's current partner. So going back now 19 years ago, we just decided one day, literally, just having a drink and saying, we had a business in England, a successful sandwich shop. So we just said, have we to think of doing something different? We were quite keen on getting the kids out of the UK at that time. So we just said, right, what can we do? So we said, let's put the house and the business on the market, see if they sell, first of all. And they did. The business sold within about 2 weeks and the house within a month. And then it was like, oh, right, we've got to do something. With no idea at that time where we were actually going. Italy was too expensive when we looked. Didn't personally fancy Spain. So we'd looked at France and thought, right, France is near enough to get back if we need to. So it was France. We'd never been to France. We didn't know anything about France. So it was just like, whereabouts do we go? And some friends of ours, they went to visit Auberterre. And they said, you think you really like it? It's hilly, there's a lot of people, it's just a nice place. So we looked at the nearest place, which was Ribérac. So a kind of a biggish place with shops and schools and things, and rented in Ribérac, and the rest is history.
And you actually designed the kitchen that you're sitting in front of it. That I get to profit from on a daily. Yeah,
I did.
So yeah, you guys bought a complete shell of a property. There's nothing in here.
No,
except for these two beams.
Yes, it was lit. Yeah, it was under fireplace. Fireplace. Well, it was absolutely remodeled. It was sort of fireplace. So yeah, it's interesting because we looked at lots of different places, and we looked at something to do up. And at that time, Simon, he said to me one day, "Geez, I've been having a think. I don't want to do a total renovation." And I said, right, okay, that's fine. We won't bother them. We'll look at other things. And this was the last house that the estate agent, we'd looked at loads, and we came to look at this, and I came in, and it was literally, there's a door there behind me, behind you rather, and it's first like a soil floor, like I say, the two beams, that was it. And it had been lived in, lastly, about 200 years previous, with a man and his animals. So I came in, put my head in, and looked round and thought, no, he's not going to want this because it's total renovation. So I didn't really take much notice. I was sort of wandering about outside. The views are superb. It ticks so many boxes, but not a total renovation. And then we said, thank you, got back in the car, and I said, what do you think then? I said, it's no good, is it? He said, yeah, this is it. So I'm like, hang on, we said not a total.
And we talked about, he's a Gemini, we've talked about this.
Oh, somebody, two half peoples. Yeah. So, but the easiest thing I have with experience, I know a lot of people bought houses and then had to knock things out and shit. We literally started with an empty structure.
But sound roof, because there's a little bit of hailstorm recently. And all the walls were intact as well.
It was a solid building.
Complete solid shell.
It was a solid building. We was not windows out. We're not windows out for windows and things like that. But other than that, yeah.
Yeah. It's incredible.
Yeah. My gosh. So, and we did it. I've got to say that for him, bless him. He really got stuck in. We were in rented. We bought it in the January, and then we moved in the end of April. So it was, it wasn't that different really to what it is now. Wow. We had help. We had an electrician. We had a plumber. We had help for a few months from a local builder, but the majority of it was done by site.
It is. And they came there and help. Yeah, and it was nothing.
Yeah, my dad came over, Mum and Dad came over, and Dad, as usual, stuck in and helped us.
Convenient to have a very skilled joiner.
Yeah.
To do some of the
more in came on a bit of a busman's holiday. Yeah.
And it's quite common, isn't it? A lot of people that move here then have to bring out friends and family or just to help with some works and things, because renovations now I think is so expensive. Do you think like now to do a renovation project, it is so much more of a headache compared to sort of 19 years ago when you did it?
I think, to be honest, I think a lot of the things, I mean, my current partner is in the building trade. And certainly since we have the big, was it 3 years ago we had the massive hailstorm? Was it 3 years?
Yeah.
And everybody said literally the building materials went up overnight.
Yeah.
You know, the roof tiles nearly doubled. And of course, everything's not come back down. So, my partner was saying the other day that everything you buy, it's just a ridiculous price now to do anything. So, yeah, I think it's absolutely
Shop to put people out of remodeling here.
Yeah,
but you know what?
Yeah, the cost of doing your house up. I mean, this to renovate this cost us round about, if I can remember rightly, round about 50,000 to do from nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, and I don't think you'd be able to do that nowadays.
No, I probably a roof alone is about 50 grand.
Yeah, well, like I said, the roof was sand feather. Yeah, solid, and it's trim roof. All the just the internal, windows and internal, really. Yeah.
So I guess that's changed the way people buy out here then.
Probably. You think it would have a knock-on effect, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Well, plus you could, back then, the busman's holiday was a thing. Now there's regulations that are going to stay at work at people's properties because of Brexit. Now materials that might have been cheaper in the UK or that you wanted because you knew how to get them in the UK, you can't get those anymore, or you have to pay import tax on them and things like that. So it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, it does. It's well, for a lot of reasons, Brexit's not been the best thing, has it? And certainly, like you say, for bringing things in and importing, and yeah,
I guess, and even like paint. I know a lot of English people bring paint over here, and there's just no point because it doesn't work in the French environment.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because you mentioned earlier, but your dad's does off the shutters.
Yeah.
And I got friends who own French houses who I've got to know then since. And they said, I've brought some paint over. And I keep saying, don't bring it over. Literally within 2 years, the shutters are shot.
Yeah.
And I keep saying, it's not the paint. Well, it's just paint. I said, but it's not made for this environment. It's too hot.
Now, not to jump onto a more dour subject, but then you and Simon ended up splitting up. I mean, dour for you, for me. You right. Oh, the friend, the winner. So you split up, and then you were essentially a single mom.
Yes.
Yeah, kids stay with you. They did.
Yeah.
And lived here until you ended up moving out down the road.
Yeah, we lived to be about 6 months. I think, interestingly, a lot of our reason for splitting up was actually coming to France.
Do you? Really?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, we discussed it. Sam and I discussed it, and obviously you don't know, and said, would we have stayed together if we were in England? Now, we are very different people anyway, so maybe not. But what we did, we were very fortunate that I took the kids to school. And a bit like you said earlier, Vanessa, about Steph, there was 2 mums I saw, one of them in particular. And I thought, I want to get to know you. There was just something about her. She was chatty, she was bubbly, and obviously French. So one of the other mums, who is now a very good friend, she came up to me and she said, I speak little English, you and you. And I said, yeah. She said, do you want to speak French? I said, yeah, absolutely I do. So she said, well, I would advise you, drop the children off at local school. And she said, just round the coffee, there's a bar. So she said, drop the kids off at school, go and sit in the bar and listen, which is what I did then for about 18 months. I used to go in every morning, apart from Wednesday, when the kids still were at school. And I went in.
And please drop. Oh, no, the free.
Yeah, well, I would say I would speak French from French fathers because they were all about over 80. Yeah. And I'd go in and I'd just sit and listen. Probably for the first 6 months, I used to think, oh, what a waste of time. So I didn't understand anything. And then obviously slowly you start understanding it. So that's how I learned my French. So then what we found is I sort of forked off into the French. I got to know more French people. Simon then didn't because he said, I don't want to go because I don't speak French. And they were then getting to a point where they were saying, look, you've been here 18 months. You're still not making an effort. So we ended up drifting. We ended up just doing different things.
Yeah.
So yes, I don't think that helped at all. So we obviously, like you say, we split up, and then I found myself as a single mum,
having to earn money.
Yes, having to earn.
So you went back to school.
I did. Yes, I did, and finished. I looked after an old couple, so I kept that doing. I used to go in the morning, and the usual sheet cleaning, things like that. And then I went into counselling. Yeah, went back to finish counselling that I'd started in England, looked at briefly. So I finished that, and then, yeah.
So you went to school in Bordeaux. You did it through the internet. How'd you and
No, I did it through the internet.
okay
I did it through the internet, yeah.
in French?
In England,
Oh
I
right.
did it in English.
Okay.
And then to work, I had to basically sort of just have my qualification changed over into French. Yeah. But I am actually a therapist. I'm not a psychotherapist.
And do you have prescribed medication?
No,
And you're taught therapy.
Yes, yeah, that. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not that. I am basically a counselor, relationship counselor.
Yeah.
Generally, I tend to do people who are struggling with different things and that come to see me for their own personal reasons.
Yeah.
That's what I tend to do.
I went to her.
That's amazing, because I think actually, and being a single mum as I am, you could get really lonely out here in France.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? If you don't have a really great, trusted, honest support system, you can feel very isolated, especially like me. My French isn't great, and I do try, and I get by, but I would struggle in a French party to hold a great conversation.
Yes, yeah. Other than your basic, get them basics. Yeah,
Yeah. So I think actually, for anybody moving out here or that currently does live here, I think talking therapy is incredibly important.
Invaluable. Well, that there's a really high incidence of suicide in rural France and in this area in particular. So having resources like you to go, to speak to, can be incredibly beneficial. Do you do French and English?
I do French and English. Yes,
Yeah.
I do French, but I think generally because sometimes, like you pointed out earlier, Versa, you came to me, didn't you? And which was lovely, because I always thought, how lovely, but yeah, I'm going to dive into this in a minute. So I won't say anything about that sort of things. So Vanessa, that's been my Google speak. So that was lovely. That I could remember you actually phoning and asking me about that. But I think a lot of, because it's, yourself, well, anybody knows, sometimes it's very difficult to like someone said, to explain,
Yeah.
and put across how you're feeling. And I can pick up on the nuances. So sometimes when I'm working with somebody, they say, I think I feel, I just don't know. I can find the words and I'll say, is it, what I'm hearing from you, is it that? And you say, yeah, that's exactly it. With French, it's not quite as easy. Because although I speak French, at the end of the day, I am, I learn English. It's like anything, your mother tongue is easier. And so it's easier to, it's just much more of your
little nuance of emotional.
Yes.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. I've had good feedback from French, and I get all my recommendations come from other people. So I've had people who've come and then somebody said, "Oh, you helped a friend so and so." So it does seem to work, but I think it is often a lot easier when it's in your mother tongue.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Is like when you move countries. Like, yeah, I saw a counselor in the U.S. not super consistently, but during different periods in my life, I would see a counselor. And when you come to a different place and you're all of a sudden, like you say, quite isolated. I mean, and even having Simon is quite isolating. He's not exactly Mr. Feelings. So you're not like, I need to talk about that issue. Yeah. He was like, he walks in and I'm emotionally distraught and he's like, let's call Giselle. A good idea. Yeah. It's the knowing that there's somebody that you can rely on and feel comforted by and talk about anything and ugly cry in front of them and they're not judging you. Yeah. Even having girlfriends and stuff, like sometimes it's just not explainable and you need that person to pick that out for you. And so if you're coming from a place like the UK where you do, and it's very common now for people to regularly seek counseling, to come out to a place like this and have that resource is incredible.
It's still got this, I think the unfortunate thing, and I say unfortunate because I know the people I work with will say, they always say a lot of people, you've literally changed my life. And I always say, I haven't changed my life. You've done it.
Yeah.
You come to me for an hour and a half a week. What you'll then do with all the other hours is up to you. And that is where it works. I just help you sort of shift through. I once saw a diagram, and it was somebody's head looking like a massive ball of wool, like all messed up.
I saw this the other day, and I explained it to my son.
Yeah.
Because he'd had a tantrum.
Yeah.
And I knew it wasn't about the thing he was tantruming about.
And it's a ball of wool. All this. So this was a client, and then the therapist was said 6 weeks before, and then you could see it all being unravelled as it was all being sorted out. It's interesting you say that, because I always say what I did for my qualification, I never use, because I started working, and then I found literally with the first 6 clients, I kept thinking, you'd have a couple say who came and she might be really jealous, so your normal ways to sort out her jealousy in ways that he can help her not feel as jealous. So you might come from somebody who's getting bullied at work, so you might look at how to cope with that. And about 6 clients in, I just thought, there's something that all these people have, and I don't know what it is. It's like you say, it's not about what you think it is about. So you often have couples who'll come and argue about a thing, and you think it's not about the washing up. It's about the fact that she feels disrespected. And then what I realised quite early on was, actually, it's never, ever about other people or the situation. It's all down to the person. And the ultimate thing that every person that I ever work with, and you wait for it, and when I hear it, I get it just makes it go goosebumps, because I think, yes, now we can start working. And they say one of 2 things always, which is, or are either both things. Either I've realised I don't know who I am as a person. I said that on a point. Yeah, that's maybe good one. I realise I don't know who I am. And the second thing is, I've just realised I don't think I feel good enough. And those 2 things, once you hit those 2 things with people, wow, then you can think, now we're going to start work.
Yeah.
And that's at the base. I mean, it always sounds very sort of Facebooky, all these quotes and affirmations about loving yourself and things. But once you have those sort of pillars, that foundation in place, where you feel good enough and you feel confident and you just feel that you're enough, and certainly to get to know yourself.
Yeah, and having that direction, I think, like a plan in place and getting it all out of your head. I spoke to somebody the other day who's in a sort of mid-teens, and I said to her, do you know what is so hard? And the Carter, my little boy, when it's up here, it feels so heavy. So every morning he has to write down a few feelings, and every night what he's grateful for, what went well today. Now focus on those strengths.
Yeah.
Because you have to have a solid foundation.
Yeah.
And I think when you move out here, I had, like you, zero foundation. You're in survival mode constantly. And I think moving country, that's so underestimated. I'm still in survival mode 4 years later. So your body goes. So do you think that boils down to standard with your communication?
I think communication is absolutely out of step.
Because I know I just sit here and talk to you guys, but I'm a terrible communicator.
Oh, that's the communication. And particularly, with women can say things like, say to Vanessa, for example, when we went to that place last year, and she'd go, yeah, we're in that, that restaurant.
I think it depends as well on what kind of emotional communicator you're with as well. Obviously, Lee and you have something completely different from what you and Simon had, and what Simon and I have. Last night, we were sitting there, and Simon's like, are you okay? I was all, yeah, why? And he goes, I don't know, you just seem different today. I just want to make sure you're okay. So he's doing a check-in, not simply because he's felt so much shit. And I was like, well, yeah, obviously the podcast can be here tomorrow. That shifts everything about how you feel about the day and stuff like that. Yeah, I thought I'm fine. Yeah, I'm good. And he was like, okay. Just making sure. It was always, he doesn't go out. He does really, surprisingly, and this is one thing my girlfriends are always like, he's quite emotionally intuitive in that he senses any changes, and he'll point them out, or he'll ask me. And like I said, I was just being funny, weird, emotionally, and he was the one that was like, I don't know how to help you. Maybe you talk to Giselle about it because that's somebody who can help you. Like, he's not capable of helping, but he knows when he says you're rubbish. Yeah, he knows when it's not rubbish.
Which is amazing because I think a lot of times with the couples, is it like, well, they're your feelings, they're your responsibility, you deal with them? Because do you find the other person is going, well, I'm so empty, I can't take on your feelings and your emotions because I'm just trying to survive the day too?
I think it's often interesting because, unfortunately, we're all brought, well, the majority of us, without knowing, are brought up as people pleasers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So most of us have that until we recognise it. Because that's, again, that's something you see through my work. You see how that's then put in place, how we become people pleasers. So what often we find then is that when you think, oh, my partner's off, without knowing, you kind of go into a bit of panic mode. I don't know what to do. You know, she's really quiet. I don't know what to do. Yeah, what is she going to, either something I've done
Or overcompensate.
Yeah. And again, you realise that when we're securing ourselves, you know, you can then just work everything through yourself. Yeah, you might just think, yeah, I'm a bit off today. What's that about? You can work it through yourself, but it is all about knowing you and knowing yourself and how to deal with your emotions, which is something unfortunately not taught.
No, you're not taught to label feeling, which I find, like, I'm very clear with Carter, like, you feel sad because you miss your dad today. Yeah, and that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. It is okay.
Unless, I don't have to pretend, but all the time. And like, I think for men, it's a lot harder, especially little boys that try to be like big men. And it's like, oh, you're the man of the house now, can't you? And it's like, no, he's still an 11-year-old child who doesn't understand what frustration is compared to fear.
I mean, the word emotion comes from energy in motion.
Yeah.
Emotion. And it is just energy passing through your body. If you let it just, you know, if you feel angry and you just think, right, yeah, I feel angry, and breathe through it and let it out. Everything gets blocked, you see, if not.
Yes.
But, I mean, it is really good what you're doing, because I think particularly for boys, my son is a really, really sensitive.
Yeah.
Very sensitive. And it can be a disadvantage, really, as a male growing up. He's got better as he's got older, because he just accepts that's how he is. But as a male growing up, you know, I think nowadays we expect men. We want them to be men. So we want macho, you know, we don't want any of that, you know, whatever you want to call it. We want men to be men. However, when we then want them to sit and cry with us, they've got to come and sit and cry. When we then want them to sit and touching with the emotional side, and they just, half the time, they don't know whether they're coming or they're going, or they don't know what we're.
They're wearing too many different hats.
Yeah, it's really difficult.
It is really hard because they don't know when to switch. But yeah, like being a man, and it's all right, we'll get through this. And then going, do you know what? It's all right, just sob in my arms. Like, and I totally believe in the energy. And there's little warning signs that you can feel coming before you.
Heckle symptoms.
That's right.
A lot of people think, oh, that's very woo. It works.
It works. So speaking of a bit of woo-woo, you're so Reiki master.
Yeah.
It all goes together.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And do you think there's been a shift in like mental health recently? I think after COVID, a lot of people are a bit more open-minded now to getting help or saying, I'm not okay.
I think it's interesting that, because I think unfortunately, we still have the stigma.
Yes.
So I still get people to say, clients will say, you know, and I'm quite happy. I quite happily pass your name on now and say, I go and see somebody, as if before there was a bit of shame in it.
Yeah.
You know, now because we still, again, I mean, in America, I've heard somebody say a bit ago, people often on the therapist on speed diet. They're fantastic. You know, that's great.
It's really common, but the English stiff upper lip.
Yes, you should. It's failing, don't we? I can't cope. You know, is it? And again, I think that's where the vicious circle is, because people to say, I am struggling, I can't cope, it's seen as, and a lot still, unfortunately, as a failure. So we can't say it. We've just got to get on with it. Like you said, we've got to paint that smile on and go out that on and Lord, yes,
that's the bravest thing to say, I'm not okay and I need help, but I don't know what I need to feel better.
Absolutely.
I don't get it. I don't understand why mental health is not taught in primary schools. And I know it's a financial thing to try and put like therapists and everything in every school and things, but a resource.
The school system, for me personally, like, particularly here, they're like little ants.
Yeah.
So we all, we're all brought up. We all go up to work because we're told that we have to get a job and we have to earn lots of money. We've got to work hard. So we've got to go out and work, and this is all drilled into us. And, from being little, what you're going to do when you get old, what you're going to do when you're a big boy, and etc. Whereas I think if we bring if you think when people come out of school, if they are powerful and they are self-confident and they know their self-worth, etc., I just think
They're not manageable.
Well,
yeah, it's that nine. It's it. They're like the black sheep, and
in numbers that could be quite exclusive. It's troublesome.
So one of the other things I wanted to ask you about, it sparked my memory because you have done in-home care and you are a carer, sort of.
Yes.
For someone who doesn't necessarily need in-home care all the time. She's like mobile and stuff.
Yeah, she's actually moved back to the UK now.
Oh, actually? Okay.
Yes.
But yes, but you've done in-home care and stuff.
For a French company.
Yeah. So, because we were thinking about this, the Stefan interview really kind of like brought to light a lot of things about living out here. And one of the things we think about pretty often, or I think about pretty often, is like what happens to those people who moved here in working age or just fresh retirement that then reach a point where they need care and they can't maybe afford to go back to England or aren't gonna or too stubborn or don't want to. People whose spouses may have passed away or people who just like didn't really plan beyond the life that they could live happily but then become debilitated in some way. So when you're doing in-home care, is it always for French?
I've done it myself, just looking after people. The first couple were English, and then a French couple, and then the English lady who's moved back to England. And oddly enough, that's what a lot of people do.
Yeah.
A lot of people, my current partner's parents came over here, lived here 16 years, loved it. She was then, at some point, she was ill. She got to go into hospital, realised that she could not speak the language, so difficult, and didn't want to be like that in old age, so they ended up moving back. So a lot do move back. But yeah, if not, I work for a company, like a care company. So basically, the French government, I think a bit like England, to try and keep people in the homes as much as possible because there's not enough nursing homes, are too expensive.
Yeah.
You can get, when you're over a certain age, I think it's 70, I'm not 100% sure, I can't remember, I think it's round about there, they will get help. So financially, so the lady I've just looked after, I think it was 70, she basically paid me X amount an hour, but she actually got help from the government, so it meant she actually ended up paying me something like €6 an hour. Care system, yeah.
But so then you have to be capable of applying for this, I imagine. Somebody has to help you, or you have to find someone.
Yes, you do. Yeah, I mean, there's a local organisation in the local town in Riberac where you can go and get all that sort of information.
Oh, right.
Okay. It's called the Maison Départementale.
Okay.
And they do loads and loads of different things. If you're struggling with this, loads of different things. A lot of people don't know it exists.
Yeah, yeah.
But
where's that in?
You go out of Riberac, next door to Jiffy, the next building.
Right.
Yeah, they do loads and loads of different things. A lot of people go there for therapy when it's paid for by the state.
Okay. Yeah. So there's state subsidized therapy as well.
Yes, I can't do that. I don't actually do state subsidized because I haven't done the French qualification. We know it's difficult here with qualifications that are accepted everywhere else in the world, but not here. Yeah.
You were saying about how life here for like the elderly sort of generations and stuff, and I have literally seen a wonderful couple just going down this road as we speak now. His eyesight's been taken away very quickly, as the pressure is now on the wife, and it's a lot. And what kind of help can people get?
Well, again, it depends to what degree. It depends to what degree their health issues are. Depends to what age they are. like I said, I mean, there is help out there. It's like anything is, it's just knowing about it, isn't it?
Yeah, and I don't think they know where to start.
Yeah.
That's my...
Like there are is there a care home across the road from you guys?
Yes.
Toucan. There's one in Rebrap. Like there's quite a lot of for care homes, aren't there? Yeah.
Yeah, there are. Yeah, it is out there.
Yeah. Do you think that Brits are more terrified of going into them because of the language thing?
Well, yeah, because I think as well as you get older,
your brain, even if you work where you get French points on, just they say you're going to be in it.
that's what the couple who I looked at, the English couple situation. Yeah, he spoke this fluent French when they moved here. And by the time he died, he'd all learned to speak English, and his French went really quickly. Yeah.
Wow. And important conversation, because I know nobody can predict the future, but you have to prep for the future. So again, you're Vanessa's emergency contact.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how amazing is that? I mean, I thought about things like that when I did move here. I was like, shit, if there's a situation that like we need urgent help, like that's why I made sure I got house with very close neighbours. So I could run and get help, things like that. But I never considered about growing old. I mean, I know that I'm going to have to look after my dad for the rest of his life. I know that, and I did that willingly when we moved here.
Yeah.
Never a problem. But again, my French isn't great, so if I needed, again, support or to find help with the caring things, it's like you were saying about like older generations living in France. I mean, from what I see, they are quite active when they are the cabbies, the French people. They are. Oh yeah, always in the This is amazing.
Yeah.
And the number one thing for when we get old, which dictates how we're gonna live out the rest of our life, is our thighs.
Good thing I got these babies.
But yeah, the knock-on effect. So when we're saying about people that are getting older, even like Brits in France, it starts today. What's gonna dictate how you're gonna live your life out here for the rest of it.
Yeah, wherever you are, wherever you led, isn't it? It's whatever you do today, it's in the results for your tomorrow type thing.
Yeah, literally that. But I think when you're in a foreign country, and again, oh God, I do want to get old in France, but that terrifies me.
It's so funny because I never really think that I drill here when I'm old.
I just don't think that far. I've all known I'm doing next week, me. When you were talking about you living in the future, I am the opposite. I am the struggle to make plans, because if you said to me, well, what, do you want to go on holiday in 3 months? I'm like, what?
Your life has changed a lot as well in the last 20 years from what you might have thought you were going to be doing.
Probably. I've always been like that. I can't see that far ahead. No, I can't see that.
Yeah, well, I think of it Simon's quite a bit older than I am. I just figure if anything happens to him, I probably wouldn't stay here. Even though I've now lived more of my adult life here. I just think but he's kind of the whole reason I live here, US.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. That's it's interesting because when we split up, one of the things that people who knew me didn't ask me. But the people who are kind of new, but not that way, the number one question was, oh, there you go. Yeah. And I just like, oh, no, this is my home. And it never even occurred to
you. You've accepted that and you've embraced that. And I think that mindset is imperative for people to do. Whatever country you live in, is knowing that you're not on your own.
Resources and help and community.
Which is why we started this podcast, Dash, because it was like, do you know what? If somebody can just go, oh, I need to know about a fuss, click, or I need to know, if I've got breast cancer, click, they can tune in and hear some valuable insight that they wouldn't have heard in their friendship circles, maybe.
Maybe it's the question something like, so what do you think your secret is to embracing your new life in France? What do you think for you your top 3 tools? Tools?
Yeah. So might serve that's it. What are your top 3 tools? But living in France or
integrating.
Yeah.
Well, number one would be, for me, don't be afraid. The amount of people I speak to say, I can't speak French and I don't want to make a mistake. I've got a good friend who I work with, Michelle, Her French is superb, but she don't use it because she's scared to make a mistake. And I just think, just say it. And I've been in the bar and then come out, and then there's one instance where I realised somebody asked me something. I thought, God, I've just talked about, it's asked about my daughter, and I'd relate to something to my swimming pool. And then driving home, it suddenly clicked. I thought, oh my God.
Yeah, you do that all the time. I always like walk out going, definitely like use the plural verb all that. Or something when I shouldn't have, or I like mixed my conjugations when I'm walking out going, what an idiot. Yeah, but yeah, they knew exactly what I was talking about. Yeah. Well, or somebody asks you a question really quick and they're staring at you, you're like, what did they ask? Well, they asked, and then you're like, did they ask that? Oh, shit. Yeah, but it happens. It happens. Like, it's the exact same as if you're talking to somebody in English, it happens. Where you go, sorry, I didn't understand. Or sorry, can you say that? Yeah. I have to do that all the time with people in English. Yeah. Because you guys all speak with these weird accents.
Yeah. Yeah, we do. So I think that would be number one. I think number two would be, we've chosen to come and live here. So the bureaucratic system is a nightmare.
Yeah.
And that's something I did for work for a while, helping people sort things out, whatever that was. But it really is a waste of time and energy to let it get to you.
Yeah.
You know, because
Yes. Damn it.
we all like the leisurely pace of life. But we don't like the fact that when you order something, you know, in England, it comes the days after. In here, you have to wait 2 weeks. You think, but that's the rough.
That's what we said. Yeah, it's the compromise.
You can't have this free, easy-going, blasé, nonchalant attitude to us, not to the French, but how we see it, and then complain when things aren't done like that.
Yeah. Except for the bureaucratic paperwork, which is not blasé or laissez-faire or anything. It's like, do this exactly how you're supposed to do it.
Yes.
Don't skip anything. And even if you
give
give
it
it
the order, she will still come back and tell you haven't. And actually, the only thing that we never asked before.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I would say that would be the second one.
Wow, you're getting good at it then.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like anything. Once you've done it, you just once you've done it, you just think, I know my way around that now.
Yeah.
It's like anything. And I think a lot of the things I said to everybody, to set something up here tends to be long and exhausting and paper form filling. But once it's set up, it runs like clockwork.
Yeah.
Once you've done it, it's really going.
Yeah. That's true. Apart from orange internet. But I might get the kill shots for saying that on live.
Yeah, they're a nightmare into the self, yeah.
And then number 3?
Number 3 would be, I have the absolute fortune of finding myself a diamond of a man who I did not know existed. So that's what you're to be doing now. I wasn't looking, got to say.
Okay.
It's interesting, is it? Because I wasn't looking. I decided I was single, and a friend said, "Are you going on the internet?" I said, "No." I was like, for me, if I meet somebody, I'm going to meet somebody. I got it, babe, I'm decide. And not interested. I said, I'm on my own. And for me to give this up, it has got to be somebody really, really special, because I'm not giving what I've got on my own. Well, yeah, I'm going to find it way too much.
Yeah, you like a New Year's cocktail later.
So this was, and I managed to find somebody. So yeah, I suppose not giving it up, it's what you're gaining, isn't it?
Yeah.
But just I feel like you'll say life. You can sort of prove to yourself you can do it on your own. That's the benefit of you, you see.
Yeah,
I know yes, and it does have yourself.
benefit, but it's a hindrance at the same time.
Yeah.
But the good and the bad. Yes, I can do it all on my own, but do I choose to? No.
No, but the benefit I think is I can do it. I know I can do it on my own now. Because I think I had the fear for a long time that I will be able to cope on my own, I'll be able to fight financially on my own. Once I know I can do it, I can do it. Therefore, I don't need somebody else to come in.
Yeah,
I choose somebody else to come in. I want somebody else to come in. Yeah. And that's when you then,
wow, it is amazing.
Yeah. Thank you so much to be on time. It's been so great.
Just, I'm glad that you've met now.
Just say, if anybody wants to get in contact with me, if anybody wants any help on anything, whatever was struggling with, personally, whatever, life here, anything.
Right, okay, well, we'll pick your link up underneath the other podcasts.
Yeah, or get in touch with either myself or...
Yeah, absolutely. And do you know what I've taken away from today is the communication.
Yeah.
Is so key.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
and listen to yourself.
Thank you very much for coming.
I don't see all it is. Yeah, so yeah, that really changed that.
You for tuning in. And thank you to this episode of Pardon Your French podcast. If you're enjoying the podcast, please like and subscribe. Follow us on social media.
Yeah.
That
And watch on YouTube and subscribe, because that definitely helps us.
yeah, that way we can keep making the podcast, keep getting new guests that are insightful and helpful for your new life in France. So yeah.
Thanks, we enjoyed that. Hope we see you all again.
Yeah, amazing.
Cool.